Yeah, guys, yeah. That's that two-step. That's that slow step. That's the only step that I know how to do. Again, guys, welcome to the channel. It's your boy Monte. I get it in. You know who I am. You know what I do. You know how I get down. If you don't, now you know. Nah, I'm just kidding, guys. Those of you who are new, thanks for joining the channel. Hopefully you'll subscribe. If you find the information and the content to be valuable and useful for you, then please subscribe. Also hit that thumbs up button. For those of you who have been riding with me for a minute, I appreciate your support and your continued support. I'm greatly appreciative of you. All right, let's get it in, guys. Now, before we get into this, now I don't want you to get all emotional. If you disagree, that's cool. It's all right to disagree. But don't disagree just to disagree because you don't understand. If you understand and you have a difference of opinion, that's a beautiful thing. Again, you share it and then we can dialogue on it. But don't get emotional, guys, because we're going to get deep today. A little deep, not too deep. Still going to be short. Let's get in it. Genes matter. We're talking about the Asians, we're talking about the European, and we're talking about the African, and we're going to talk about the food that is pretty much native to these individuals. Doesn't mean that it's natural food, guys. So we'll break all that down and we'll get deep for a second. Again, stay with me. Don't get emotional. Don't run. Don't get into a tantrum. Listen, hear me out. Disagree. If it's an intelligent disagreement and an argument, post it down in the comments below or email me, all right? And we can discuss it. Because I may be wrong on some things, but certain things I know I'm not wrong, all right? But if I can be proven wrong, then I drop what it is that I thought I knew, like a bad habit, and I move to that which somebody has shown me is right. All right, I have no ego when it comes to that. Let's get it in. The Asian. Historically, rice has been a staple for those in Asia. All right? Europe, meat, potato, and dairy. That has been a staple of the European diet historically. African. Before the African continent was colonized by the Europeans, mainly Great Britain, before they imported all their animals and all those other things, the African diet was plant-based. All right, now let's get back into what it is we want to talk about. Now, the reason why I wanted to share that with you, I wanted to make sure that you understood why I'm going where I'm going. This is in terms to our ability to consume this food without the detrimental effect that it has on determining the detrimental effect that it has on the different races of individuals. I know people don't want to use races of individuals sometimes, but we'll say the ethnic groups, the race groups, etc. Just take it for what it is, guys. All right. The Asian, again, rice. Before the Asian moved into America and started to consume a lot of the other foods that the American diet put forth, the Asian was pretty much easily able to deal with the rice and not become diabetic and not become fat, out of shape, etc. All right. So the Asian and the ancestral DNA are able to handle rice better than the European and the African. All right. Now, rice grown in America, the soil that the rice is grown in America is said to be 70% of that soil is said to have arsenic. Now, this is a hell of a thing to have in a food source. So even for the Asian, if he's eating or she's eating that American rice or grown in America, that rice is going to be detrimental to them. All right. But generally speaking, the Asian can deal with rice better than the European and the African because of his or her ancestral DNA and their body's ability to deal with that food for the thousands of years that they had to deal with it. Now, the European, again, so let's first establish this, guys. Life started in Africa. I ain't trying to be racist or anything like that, but you know and I know you cannot be born butt naked in Europe and live in that climate. Asia also. You're not going to be able to survive, right? So we'll say as the default, life begun in Africa. But that doesn't make the African better or worse, all right? Now, with that being the case, when those individuals, Africans, migrated out of Africa into and populated the earth, they had to adjust to the environment that they found themselves in, and they had to feed themselves with what they had to feed themselves with, and this became the staple of the European diet because they was born in a rough climate that was not conducive to plant-based foods growing. So with that being the case, they had to develop weaponry in order to kill and consume meat. They were able to finally become agricultural and grow the potato, and then domestic as they started to rear the cows to produce dairy and so forth. All right. Again, it's my position that the human physiology is not designed to eat meat or any animal flesh, but we're able to do it. Again, our anatomical structure in and of itself is not conducive to us eating meat, and we have to alter the actual molecular structure of the meat in order to consume that meat, in order not to be poisoned by that meat. So how will meat be a natural food for the human physiology? I'm not telling you to stop eating your meat. What I am saying to you, it is not natural to the human physiology, just as rice is not natural to the human physiology. Anything that has to be altered is not natural. All right? Plant-based. Again, the African, her food was plant-based before they became colonized by the European, and all sorts of other things got introduced into the African diet. Now, it's a nice little comparison that they did with the African and the African American of the same DNA. They saw that the African American had rates of upwards 70, 75, 80% more heart disease than the African of the same ancestral DNA in Africa who ate their original diet. The African in America, the African American eats a Western-based diet, therefore his heart rate is out the roof, or his heart condition as far as heart attacks, etc., is out the roof in comparison to his ancestral DNA African brothers who live in Africa who have virtually no heart attack issues. All right? Again, don't get emotional. Let's think. Now, again, this diet is detrimental to the European as well, but he or she is able to deal with this a little better than the African and the Asian. The Asian is better suited to deal with the rice. The European and the African both consuming that white rice or even that brown rice becomes detrimental to both our physiology because we're not DNA ancestrally speaking, historically speaking, our bodies were not exposed to this and didn't develop the means to deal with this on a higher level. All right. So that's just basic understanding that genes do matter, guys. They do matter. We can go a lot deeper, and we will in the next presentation. But I just wanted to share that with you guys, that We all are different. That doesn't make us better. That doesn't make us worse. It makes us different, and certain things we're going to have to do slightly different because we're going to be effective a little different than our counterpart, our brother and sister of Asian and European descent, or African European, or African and Asian descent. All right, guys. Peace and love. Peace and love.